this video, we're going to go ahead and set up our weapon. So under your game models, we have a prefab in here called weapon, which is a sci-fi weapon. Go ahead and drag that into your hierarchy and set the position to 0, 0, 0. If you zoom in on it, you'll see it's down here, and you're more than welcome to move it around to where you can kind of see it better, because there's a modification I want you to make to it. On yours, you may have a bullet attached to the end of it. I want you to go ahead and drop down the weapon, and then go in here and find the bullet and delete it. Apply the prefab, because we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using a particle effect to represent our bullets. Okay, so here's our weapon. Make sure you hit apply on your prefab. And what we need to do is we need to basically, oops, I have two of them in my scene. What we want to do is we need to basically make this, we need to put this in front of our camera and set up a first-person shooter. The idea here is that we want our weapon to kind of look like you're holding it as a rifle and it's aiming down the center of the screen. So go ahead and let's move it in front of our character. So to do that, you'll just use the handles and you'll sort of drag it through the scene. Once you can see it inside the game view, we're ready to go. So here we go in the game view. You can see it's facing sideways. Let's go ahead and rotate it along the Z-axis about 270 degrees to get it how we want. So you can go ahead and say -90 on the Z, and that's going to go ahead and flip it so that it's upright. The next thing we want to do is we want to make the weapon a child of the main camera so that wherever we look with the main camera, we can see our weapon. So put the weapon inside the main camera, go ahead and zero out the position, and now what we can do is we can go ahead and position this however we see fit. So go ahead and move it forward, and you'll see here's the gun. Now on a first-person shooter, you don't want it directly in the center of the screen like this. More so, we want it on the right of the screen as if you were holding it with two hands, and then you'll bring it back. So sort of like what you can see here. And this way, if we had a crosshair on the center of the screen, it would look like you're aiming at the center. Now, you'll notice in the game view that as I tuck the gun into our character here, it's getting clipped here. In order to fix this, if you click on the main camera, we just have to decrease the clipping planes. So right now the near is set to 0.3. Go ahead and set the near to about 0.1, and you'll see that fixes that. Go ahead and position the gun as to your liking. And I think I am, oops, I'm positioning the main camera here. And I think I'm okay with this current setup. So here we can move it over just a bit more. And if you want to, you can also rotate the weapon. So right now it looks like it's, it does look like it's pointed center, but if I wanted to rotate it a bit along the Y, and there we go. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. Go ahead and get a setup that you're happy with, and ultimately you can tweak this later. But for the most part, we're pretty good here, and I will perfect this to a value I like, and I will come back to you guys. Okay, so the final position that I'm happy with here on our weapon is going to be 0.53 on the X, -1.35 on the Y, 3 on the Z. For the rotation on the Y, I put 4.12, and then a -90 rotation on the Z. This is my preferred rotation, but by all means, please make this your own and whatever you feel you want it to be. If you are positioning your weapon and at any time your camera feels like it's clipping, that's your near clipping plane, and just go ahead and adjust it right here, your near. Okay, so we have our weapon set up. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to go ahead and add a crosshair.